Dolt. I've only just gone and scraped the bumper, the front passenger side bumper on the corner of the van, down the local Sainsbury's on a little post that I just didn't see because it's sort of just higher than knee height. This comes on to the question of how much do you spend on a van? How much do you spend on a camper van, either whether it's a conversion or a pre-converted one, or one to get converted, whichever way you look at it? Then this is one of the biggest dilemmas I had. What is your budget? So there's several options. You can pick up a Ford Transit for £1,000, or you can buy a VW Transporter or a Mercedes whatever for 35 grand. Or I saw an advertised fully converted Transporter this morning for £50,000. That's a lot of money. £50,000 on a camper van, which, apart from the pop top, didn't really give much more functionality than I've currently got. So what I would consider to be the pros and cons of each bracket. So you go out and you buy £1,000 Transit van. It's got 200,000 miles on the clock. So already there, you don't know what the engine's like. You don't know. It might come with full service history, but again, you don't know how long it's going to last. You rip out all the panels. Is the floor going to be rusty? What are the side arches? How much work are you going to have to put into that base to make it into a van, even before you start to convert it? Now, for me, I didn't want to rip up the floor and find a rusting hole there and then figure out how to fix it, or take it down the garage, or extra money, as to say, on a van that's 15 years old, that's going to possibly drive like crap. Your spring's going to go halfway up to Scotland, whatever. Reliability. I didn't want a van that had crappy reliability or a lot to do in it. I didn't want to spend 6 months having to work on the base of my van before I then start on the actual conversion. Then, of course, you've got your 30, 40, 50, 30 grand plus vans, whether unconverted or converted. Now, if you buy a £30,000 van and you scratch the front, not saying that I'm not gutted, but you are gonna cry. Not just that, but one of the first adventures that we went on to Wales, Google Maps, we wanted to find our way up to this car park, and it looked brilliant location, wild camping, as they say, in a van as wild as you can make it. And we started to go up what Google Maps, good old Google Maps, had designated the route for us. And my missus is like, this ain't the right way. Guarantee you now this is a dead end. I'm like, no, it's fine, typical. And anyway, we're going up and it starts to get a little bit rougher, and you can just hear the scraping of the trees down the side of the van, and you're like, oh no, what the... And then we got so far up and we had to reverse back down, so it's as it's going up, going up sort of down, whichever way the van, scratching as it goes. Then of course you go into your favourite little place, the ferry, whatever it is, the Isle of Skye, and you just, it's one track, it's a single track road, and you're having to go over to the edge and let other cars and vans come down, and again you're scraping your van up against foliage on the side. So to buy a really expensive, nice, perfect van and then do that, you're not going to be a happy bunny. Also, if you buy a £30,000 van to convert yourself, as soon as you make any addition to that van, so okay, taking the front partition out is okay, screws out, comes out, but then if you remove all the partitioning, or you know, you take out all the fixings, and then you start hacking into the roof, or you start drilling holes for your gas, that sort of thing, then there's no comeback from that. If you don't get it perfect, then your van is never going to be the same. You're going to have to make little additions. Are you realistically going to get the value back on that van, that £30,000 van, unless it is perfect? Boom. You know, if you drill through the hole, through the roof by mistake, I haven't, but if you do, boom. You know, it's something that somebody's going to pick up on when you go to sell that van and go, oh, what's that? So I paid, this is a 2016 Transporter Highline 2 litre TDI, and I paid, I think, £14,500 for it. Did I pay too much? No, because I look at all the options. It's such a comfortable drive. It has cruise control, air conditioning, the reversing pilot, whatever it's called. It has the reliability there. It's got 120,000 miles on the clock, which is a bit high, but at the same time, I'm not worried about that, because it's not like it's 250,000, and I got a good base wagon for it. If I'd gone a couple of grand less, you know, maybe I'd gone to 10 grand, I could have maybe got the equivalent Ford Transit. You could say that, you know, I've gone a bit posh getting the Transporter, but I do really like them. They have got that camper van vibe about them, and I do really, really like it. If I'm honest, if I'd paid a couple of grand less for it, I would have been happy. But to find a model that had both sliding doors, it had the tailgate and the Highline and the 2 litre TDI, there's not many of them around. It took me months to find one. So it was either buy this one or wait another couple of months, or spend another 5 grand on one that maybe had 60,000 miles on the clock, knowing that, well, how many miles am I going to put on the clock? I think I've had this a year and I put 12,000 miles on the clock. So if you're going to keep it for a couple of years, is there really much difference? Well, I'll leave that up to you. So if you are thinking about buying a van to convert, or a new van, just think about those factors. The biggest realistically factor is, yes, if you're going to keep it on your driveway and only use it 2 or 3 times a year, and you're going to drive on the motorway, and you're going to drive to a campsite, and you're going to set yourself up for the week and never really go anywhere, then fine. You know, be that person who looks nice in a 50 grand camper van. But if you're going to go on a real adventure, and you're going to go to the back end of nowhere in Scotland, up little lanes and wherever, just think about the wear and tear that you're going to have on the van. Anyway, peace out, happy van life, and I'll catch up in the next one.